Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Kill Team battle report. That's right, this is the first Glacial Geek Kill Team battle report of this the latest latest iteration of Kill Team here. I'm coming to you here from Savannah Line Games in Pooler, Georgia, where we will see a fight between my Dark Angels running the Adeptus Astartes rules against Jason's Death Guard running Death Guard rules. So, the story that we've got going on here is basically just the usual trying to take out the heretics and clean this planet of the plague that they have brought along. We are going to be playing a mission. We're doing a basic mission. This is actually our first. This is our second time playing the game, so we're just doing a basic mission. We had a basic deployment zone here with basically 6 inches from the center, and then 6 inches from the center line, and 6 inches from. So on each side we had the exact same thing, and then we placed 4 objectives just here in the middle. About equidistant. Each of those is going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game, and we'll just kind of play from there. So that is the story and the mission that we are going to be playing here. Before we go any further, let's show you the 2 kill teams that are going to be fighting it out today. So for the Dark Angels, I have 2 intercessors with bolt rifles. I have 2 tactical marines with bolters. I have a scout sergeant with a bolter. I have a reaver sergeant with a heavy bolt pistol, close combat knife, grav shoot and grapnel launcher, and a tactical gunner with a heavy bolter. My specialists along the front row there are an intercessor with sniper. I have the leader, my scout sergeant. I have a combat specialist is my reaver sergeant, and my gunner with the heavy bolter is going to be my heavy specialist. And for the Death Guard, he'll be running with 5 Plague Marines and a Plague Marine champion. We have 3 Plague Marines with bolters and plague knives. We have 1 Plague Fighter with a Flail of Corruption, and he is going to have the Zealot specialty. We have 1 Plague Gunner with a Plague Spewer. He is going to have the Veteran specialty, and the Plague Champion will be his leader with a Power Fist, a Plague Sword, and a Plasma Pistol. All right, going over deployment here. On this side, I've got 1 of my tactical marines and my intercessor without the specialty down on the ground there. I've got my heavy bolter bro up on top in the building here. Over on the right side over here, I've got my intercessor with the sniper rule in the front there. I've got my tactical marine in the front there. I've got my reaver sergeant over here, and I've got Jenkins, my scout sergeant over here, my leader, my brave leader, leading this squad of intrepid Dark Angels into this city to try to cleanse out this plague over here on the right flank. So that's my deployment. Going over deployment here for the Death Guard. We've got 1 of his bolter bros up here. We've got the guy, pardon me, with the plague spewer down over here. We've got the other 4 guys in here. So on the bottom floor, we've got the guy with the flail, we've got the guy with his champion, and we have the 2 bolter bros up on top. So, as of right now, and the way it's going to be, Jason, the Death Guard player, has initiative. So he deployed first, or started the deployment. You deploy back and forth, and then I deployed after him, as alternating between the 2 like that. But he has initiative, so he will be going first. So we will come back to you after his movement phase. All right, so going over movement phase here on turn 1 for the Death Guard. His bolter bro over here moved over the corner over this way. His 2 guys in here readied themselves so they can shoot beginning of the earlier on in the turn. Over here, his champion and the fighter with the flail both advanced over this direction, and his plague spewer advanced up against the crates over on this side. So that is the movement phase for the Death Guard. We'll come back to you after the movement phase for the Dark Angels. Movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn 1. My tactical bolter bro moved up over this way, advanced up this way. My intercessor without the sniper moved up over this way. My heavy bolter guy had readied himself up here. My other tactical marine moved up around this way behind this crate. Jenkins, this brave leader, moved up against the crate over here. My intercessor with the sniper moved up around close to the edge over here. And my sergeant over here, my Reaver sergeant, attempted to charge into his champion over there. I rolled a 3, and I spent a command point to re-roll the roll, because in Killteam, unlike regular regular Warhammer 40K, the stratagem that they have there for using the command points, their tactic is tactical reroll. It's reroll a charge roll, advanced roll, psychic test, deny the witch test, hit roll, wound roll, saving throw, injury roll, or nerve test. So you reroll all the dice because it specifies that it's the whole roll versus the individual die like you would in regular 40K. But I re-rolled and rolled a 6, so I still didn't make the charge, so I just moved myself up here behind this crate over here. So that is it for the movement phase, so we will come back to you with the shooting phase. All right, so starting off the shooting phase, you start with the readied characters first. So he's going to start with his bolter guy over here, who's going to shoot into my tactical marine over here. So my tactical marine is obscured from him. Obscured in this game is any kind of cover. So anytime that the model is obscured from you, doesn't matter if it's just a foot, whatever it is, it's a -1 to hit them in the shooting phase. So he's obscured for him over here, so he's a -1 for that. He's also more than half range away from him, so he's more than 12 inches with his bolter, which means that he's at an additional -1, so he's going to be looking for 5s to hit. That one is cocked. That was really special. No hit there. All right, so now that I now activate one of my readied guys, which is going to be my heavy bolter guy. He's going to split his 3 shots between these 2 guys. He's going to shoot 2 into the guy on the right, 1 into the guy on the left there. So he's 18 inches away, which means that he's half range. So don't have the minus to hit because of that, but he is obscured. So I'm going to be hitting on. We're going to do the 2 shots into the guy on the right over there. These are going to be hitting on 4s because he's obscured. Okay. All right, so now we're going to have the 1 shot over here. My opponent reminded me that I needed to take out my filth face dice. That must have been what was the issue here. So he's going to have the 1 shot into the guy on the left there. Again, hitting on 4 because he's obscured, but not -1 because he is in half range. Nope, no hit there. And now the guy on the right there was readied. He's going to shoot into the heavy bolter. Again, -1 because he's more than half range, and -1 because of being obscured. So we're looking for a 5. No hit. All right, so now his plague marine here is going to start off the regular shooting phase into my tactical marine over here. So he is going to be is he obscured from there? Anything?
That silly barrel.
Yeah, that barrel does obscure him, so he is going to be -1 to hit there. He's also more than half range, so looking for a 5 to hit. No hit. Better. All right, so now my intercessor here is going to activate, because you alternate activations during the shooting phase. So now he is going to activate, and he's going to shoot into his guy on the right over there. He is within half range, so I'm going to be rapid firing here with his bolt rifle, sorry. And these are, but he is obscured, so it's -1 to hit, so looking for 4s to hit. All right, getting 1 hit. Strength 4, toughness 5, so looking for a 5 to wound. No wound. All right, so my opponent advanced the rest of his guys, so he has no one else that can alternate, so now it's going to be my guys shooting. My intercessor here is going to fire into his plague spewer. He's 15 inches away, so he's going to be in rapid fire range, which is also half range, which means that I'm going to get 2 shots. He is obscured from where I'm standing there, so he's going to be hitting on 4s. That is 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. That is a wound with a filth first. So -1, so looking for a 4-up save. No, but he gets a 5-up disgustingly resilient. Yeah, he's good. And now my regular tactical marine here is going to shoot into his guy on the left over there. He is obscured, so he's going to be -1 to hit. He's also more than 12 inches away, which is half range for his bolter, so he's going to be -1 to hit again. So this is going to be hitting on a 5. Yep. All right, so that's it for the shooting phase. There is no fight phase since no one made any charges. So we're going to go, and there's no need for a morale test since no one took any, no need for nerve tests or break tests because no one got knocked out of action and no one took any flesh wounds. So now we roll for turn 2 for initiative. I get it with an 11, so we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn 2. All right, movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn 2. My Tactical Marine moved up behind the barrel over here. My Intercessor moved up against the crate over here, looking down over this way. My Heavy Bolter guy readied himself, as did my Tactical Marine here, as did Jenkins, as did my Sniper Intercessor. And at the end here, my Sergeant Reaver is going to charge into his champion over there. So I've got grab shoots and I've got grapnel launchers, which means that I don't take damage for falling or anything like that, but I do have to worry. I wouldn't have to worry about going over terrain, so I go straight across over here. I'm going to be looking for a 5-inch charge. And he's in with 6 inches. All right, and that is it for the movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn 2. We'll come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard. All right, movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 2. His bolter guy over here readied himself. These two bolter guys readied themselves. His Plague Spear moved into the gap over there, looking onto my Intercessor through the gap over here. And his champion stayed in combat with my Reaver, or had to stay in combat with the Reaver, because if you're the target of a charge, you can't actually fall back. So he's just in target into combat there. But now he is going to try to charge into my Reaver Sergeant with his fighter over here. So he's going to have to go up and over the containers here. So he's looking for a 5-inch charge to get over those containers, and he's in. All right, so that is it for the movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 2. So we're going to start into the shooting phase. We start with readied guys first. So we're going to start with my ready guy first, since I won initiative. So we're going to start with my Intercessor here firing into his Plague Spear underneath the gap over there. So he's obviously in rapid fire range there. I'm going to fire the 2 shots. He is not obscured from me, so it's going to be hitting on 3s. All right, so that is 2 hits, looking for 5s to wound. That is 1 wound, AP -1, so he's got a 4-up save. No, goes through, 5-up, disgustingly resilient. No disgustingly resilient. So now that is a wound onto him. He's only got 1 wound total. So now we roll a injury result on. Basically, it's just straight up here because he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any flesh wounds at this point, and he isn't obscured from me, so it's just going to be a straight-up roll. On a 1, 2, or 3, he takes a flesh wound, and his wound gets back up to a 1, and he'll just have that 1 wound left. But if he gets a 4, 5, or 6, he's removed from play. So let's see what happens. On a 5, so he's removed from play. All right, so now one of his readied guys gets to shoot, so he's going to go the guy on the left there into my Heavy Bolter. He's going to have 1 shot. It's -1 because he's more than half range, and it's -1 because I'm obscured, so looking for a 5 to hit. No hit. And now my Heavy Bolter guy is going to activate. He's going to fire 2 shots into the guy on the right, 1 shot into the guy on the left. So we're going to go, and he can split his shots because they're within 2 inches of each other. So we're going to go with the 2 shots into the guy on the right. These are going to be -1 to hit because of him being obscured, but he's within half range. So these are going to be hitting on 4s. Getting 2 hits, strength 5, toughness 5, looking for 4s to wound. That is 2 wounds, AP -1, so 2 4-up saves. Ooh, good with the 6s. All right, now the 1 shot into the guy on the left over there, hitting on a 4. No hit there. So, the guy on the right here was hit, and we were looking in the book about fall tests. So because he was hit, he has to take a test. On a 2+, he'll be fine. So he's fine. If he had rolled a 1, he would have fallen off the back there and would have possibly taken some damage there, but he's good to go. All right, so now the guy on the right there is going to shoot into my Heavy Bolter guy. He's going to be hitting on a 5. That's a hit. Looking for a 4. No wound there, but he did get hit, so let's see. He's good with a filth phase. Woo! All right, now my Bolter bro over here is going to shoot into the guy on the left over there. Looking for a 5 to hit because I'm not within 12 inches, and he is obscured. That's a hit. Looking for a 5 to wound. That is a wound. Regular's armor save. Oh, he's good. But his fall test. Oh, no, he's good. And then his final readied guy is going to shoot into my Tactical Marine over here. He's going to have 2 shots because he's within 12 inches. These are going to be hitting on 4s because he's obscured, but within half range, so no minus to that. So 2 shots on 4s, getting 1 hit. He's going to be wounding on a 4. That is a wound. He's got a 3-up armor save. Whoa, falling off the side of the table. No, I failed that. I'm going to spend a command point. No. All right, so now we have the injury roll. So he is obscured, so he gets a -1 to this roll. So rolling it. 6, 5, he is out of action. All right, so that is it for the shooting phase. Into the fight phase, we're gonna start with charges get activated first. So my guy charged and so did his guy, but because I have initiative, I will go first. So we're gonna go with my Reaver Sergeant here into his champion. He's got 3 attacks base, +1 because he's a combat specialist, and his combat knife gives him an additional attack, so it's going to be 5 attacks. I spent a command point for Death to the Traitors, which means that he gets to attack when he was attacking a Heretic Astartes model on a 6+, on a hit roll of a 6+, that model, the target, I get an additional attack into them. So we've got 5 attacks here. For every fill face, I get to roll an additional attack. So looking for 3s. All right, so I got 4 hits, including 1 fill face, so I get an additional attack into him there, which is another attack hit. That's pretty good. Glad I spent that point. So that's 5 hits. These are going to be wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. AP nothing, so 2 3-up saves, making them both. All right, so now his fighter over here, who is the Zealot, is going to be attacking into my sergeant over here. He's got 2 attacks base because he's the fighter, plus 1 attack because of Zealot, and he charged. Each of these attacks, because he's got the flail, is a D3 attacks. So it's going to be 3d3 attacks that he's going to get onto me over here.
And I am going to spend 2.
And he's going to spend 2 command points on Veterans of the Long War, which gives +1 to wounds. So there we go. These are going to be 3d3 attacks. So that's going to be 3, 6, 7, 8 attacks. Pretty brutal.
Nice.
All right, so we have 8 attacks coming in here. These are going to be hitting on 3s. 6s are Death to the False Emperor, so that's an additional 2 attacks that he gets to go into here. All right, those don't blow up any further. So these are now going to be strength +2, right? So would be wounded. Strength +1 for charge. So that's going to be strength 7, which would be wounding on 3s. But because he spent Veterans of the Long War, wounding on 2s. All right, rerolling 1s because of plague weapon. All right, so that is going to be
4, 6,
8 wounds. We'll come back to you with that. So 8 wounds in here. 8 armor saves. He's got AP -2 on that flail, so these are going to be 8 5-up saves. Oh no, I made 1. It's not looking good. So the first one would just be his first wound, and then we've got 6 wound rolls to make here. So we've got 6, any of these over 5 up. Over 4 up, so yeah, there's no minus to that, so he is just going to be removed from action. All right, so that is the end of turn 2 here. So at the end of turn 2, leading into turn 3, we have our initiative. My opponent gets it with a 10, so we will come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 3. All right, movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 3. These 2 guys advanced, one coming from over here and one dropping down over here. This guy back in here just moved down over there. His champion over here advanced into cover around here. And this guy over here is going to finish us off with a charge into my intercessor. So he needs to make a 6-inch charge to get around the corner there. I can't see him, so I can't overwatch him, and I'm not going to retreat right now. So here we go. Looking for a 6-inch charge. Getting it. All right, movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn 3. Jenkins and my tactical bolter bro moved back over this way so they can get some shots into his champion over there. My intercessor had to stay still, had to stay in combat there because the turn that you're charged, you can't actually fall back. My heavy bolter bro up here readied himself, and my intercessor over here moved around the corner looking on them over there. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the shooting phase. All right, so my heavy bolter bro here is going to activate first, even though my opponent has initiative because he readied and my opponent doesn't have anyone who readied. So he's going to fire all 3 shots into the guy in the building down there because you can see him over there. He's within 18 inches, so no -1 to there, but he's definitely obscured, so having a -1 to that. So it's going to be 3 shots hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 5, looking for a 4 to wound. That is a wound. AP -1, so 4 up. Oh, he's good. And now his bolter guy over there is going to shoot into my heavy bolter guy, so hitting on a 5. No hit. All right, so now Jenkins is going to fire into his champion back there. 2 shots because he's in rapid fire range. He is obscured by my own guy there, so that is going to be -1 to hit. So looking for a 4 to hit. That is 2 hits. Looking for 5s to wound. No wounds. All right, my opponent has no one else to shoot, so now I'm going to keep shooting here. I've got my Tactical Marine going to fire into his champion over there. 2 shots. That is going to be 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. No wound there. I'm going to spend a command point. Nope. And now my Intercessor over here is going to fire into his Marine over here. He is partially obscured, but within half range, so it's going to be 2 shots hitting on 4s. That is 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. No wound. So normally in combat here, I would be able to shoot my pistol, but because he was the subject of a charge this turn, I don't actually get to shoot my pistol this turn. So that is it for the shooting phase. So we're going to go into the fight phase. We activate the chargers first. So he charged, he's got zealots, so it's 3d6 attacks. All right, so that's going to be 2, 4, 5 attacks. These are going to be hitting on 3s. All right. That is going to be 4 hits. These are now going to be strength 7, so looking for 3s to wound. Getting 3 wounds, AP -2, so we've got 3 5-up saves. Making one of them, so 2 go through, so the first one is fine, but then one of them, actually I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll one of these. Nope. Okay. So that's 1 is the first wound, and then the second one is going to be the 1 injury roll, because there's only 1. Yeah, just 1 injury roll. No flesh wound. All right, my opponent's going to spend a command point to re-roll that injury roll. Into a 5, he's removed from play. All right, and that is the end of turn 3 here because he killed my one guy that was in combat. I still have more than half on the table, so I do not have to take a test. So now we will move into the initiative for the next turn. I get an 8. My opponent gets a 5. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Dark Angels here on turn, turn 4. 4. All right, movement phase for the Dark Angels here. My Tactical Marine moved back over this way. My Sergeant Jenkins over here advanced around into the building back over here. My Heavy Bolter readied himself, and my Intercessor jumped up on top of there, moving just regular movement. So that is it for the movement phase for the Dark Angels. We'll come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard. All right, movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 4. His Death Guard guy, his fighter over here advanced behind the container over here. This Plague Marine over here advanced. This Plague Marine over here advanced. He was the one that was inside the building over there. And this Plague Marine over here just did his regular move. Champion also advanced around to this corner.
I'm going to use Cloud of Flies.
And he's going to use Cloud of Flies on him for 2 command points. So that is it for the movement phase for Death Guard. We will come back to you with the shooting phase. All right, so we're going to start off with my readied guy, which is my Heavy Bolter. My opponent actually, we took back the using that stratagem there because it turns out it's closest visible enemy model. We thought it was just closest model, but it's closest visible. So because he's the only one visible to my Heavy Bolter guy, it didn't make sense. He was trying to protect him from my Heavy Bolter guy. So we're going to activate my Heavy Bolter guy, though, because he's the only one that readied over here. So he's going to have 3 attacks. These are going to be hitting him. He is obscured from where he is, so it's going to be hitting on 4s. All right, getting 1 hit. Wounding on a 4. No, I'm going to spend a command point to reroll that. Into a wound, AP -1, so 4-up armor save. No, 5-up disgustingly resilient. No, goes through. So now we have the result here is going to be a flesh wound. So now my Intercessor here is going to fire into his champion. Rapid firing, hitting. He's not obscured from there, so we're going to be hitting on 3s. So that's 2 hits. These are going to be wounded on 5s. I need that roll right now. Getting 1 wound, AP -1, so 4-up armor save. No, 5-up disgustingly resilient. Oh, he's going to spend a command point to reroll that one. No, 5-up disgustingly resilient. Oh, but he makes it on that one. See, you changed the dice around, so it worked out. All right. All right, so now his bolter bro here is going to throw a crack grenade into my guy over here. He's -1 to hit because of obscured, but grenades ignore the half range requirement, so it's going to be hitting on a 4. No hit. All right, my tactical marine is now going to fire into his plague marine over here. He is going to be outside of half range, so he's going to be -1 to hit, but he's not, and he is obscured, so he's going to be looking for a 5 to hit. No hit. All right, and that is it for turn 4 here, because no one's in combat and no one's got anything there. Although at the end of the turn, he does have a guy with a wound, right?
Yep.
So that's going to be this guy over here. So we're going to take a nerve test here. So roll a d6 on a 5. Ooh, 1 second. All right, he was fine. I forgot that he only had the one guy out of action. So the 5 plus the 1 meant a 6. He's got a leadership of 7. He's good to go. Or this guy over here, he's good to go. And neither of us is at half strength, so no one has to take a break test. So now we just have the roll for initiative now for turn 5. 5 and 5. All right, roll again. Into a 10 and a 9. So I will have initiative here. So we'll come back to you after a movement phase for the Dark Angels on turn 5. All right, movement phase for the Dark Angels. My Bolter Marine here moved up onto the building around here. Jenkins moved up over here, looking out the door over this way. My Heavy Bolter readied himself, and my Intercessor over here moved further away over this way and moved over there. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the Death Guard movement phase here on turn 5. All right, movement for the Death Guard here. This guy readied himself. He readied himself. He moved up over this way. His champion advanced up over this way, and this guy back over here is his fighter is going to charge into my tactical marine here. So I cannot see him. I'm not going to fall back there, so he needs a 10-inch charge. Getting it with a 10-inch.
I don't know if that's quite
All right, so starting off the shooting phase, my heavy bolter here who is readied is going to fire into his champion. You can see him down below there. So I'm going to have 3 shots because definitely probably within half range of his heavy bolter there. Just downstairs. My opponent's still not sure. He really requires an extra set of measurements there for that one. So not -1 for being more than half range, but -1 because he is obscured there. So 3 shots hitting on 4s. Okay, I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll one of those. So that's 2 hits, wounding on 4s. Oh, rough. All right, so now this guy over here is ready, so he's going to throw a crack grenade into my Intercessor over here. He is obscured there. Grenades ignore the half range, so looking for a 4. That's a hit. 3, strength 6, so that's a wound. AP -1, so looking for a 4-up save. He's good. Woo! All right, so now my Intercessor, because this other ready guy couldn't actually see anyone, my Intercessor here is going to shoot into his champion there. So I've got 2 shots. These are going to be hitting on 3s. That's right. All right, so now this guy over here is going to fire into my Intercessor here. He's got a flesh wound, but he has transhuman physiology, which means that he ignores the first flesh wound. So he is going to be shooting into him. He is more than halfway, so -1 to that, but he's not obscured, so it's going to be looking for a 4. That is a hit. That is a wound. 3-up save. He's good. All right, so that's it for the shooting phase. Into the fight phase, his guy who charged over here is going to go first. So he's got the Zealot, so 3d6 attacks. Going to have 3, 6, 7 attacks coming in here. All right, so these are going to be hitting on 3s. 6s get to attack again, so there's 2 of them in there because of Death to the False Emperor.
Didn't give me nothing.
Didn't give him anything there, so these are now, but all the other ones were hits, so these are now going to be strength +2, +1 because he's on the charge with Zealot. Still going to be wounding on 3s. Rerolling 1s because of Plague Weapon. All right, not meant to be on that one, so that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds there at AP -2. So we've got 6 5-up saves. Making 3 of them. That's not bad. So 3 wounds here, so 3, because it's not an Intercessor, it's a regular guy. So it's going to be 3 wound rolls here. Getting 1 that goes out of action. All right, so that is the end of turn 5 here. At the end of the turn 5 in the morale phase, he still doesn't have to take a nerve test here because he's only got the one guy missing out of action, but I have 4 guys out of action, which means I have to take a break test, which is more than half. So I roll 2d6. If it's higher than my highest leadership, then I am broken. So we have 2d6. Jenkins over there with an 8. Let's see what happens. Nope, with a 6, I am good to go. So we roll to see if it goes on to a turn 5. So why don't you roll for that one?
Just 1 die.
Yeah, 1 die on a 3-up. Yep, so we will go come back to you with turn 6. Oh no, now we have to roll to see. We have to see who goes first in turn 6. All right, so I will be going first. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Dark Angels. Movement for the Dark Angels here. My Intercessor moved down over here. My Sergeant Jenkins and my Heavy Bolter moved up over there. And that is it for the movement phase. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 6. All right, movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 6. This guy readied himself. This guy over here moved up to the barrel around here. This guy back here is going to be charging and he moved up underneath here, but he's going to be charging and he's going to be charging. So which one do you want to start with first? We're going to start with this guy over here, charging into here. He needs a 6-inch charge to get in. Does not make it in. All right, so my opponent's actually going to spend a command point to re-roll that roll, and he makes it. And now he is going to charge into both these guys up here. I cannot see him, so I cannot overwatch. He needs a 9-inch charge. No, not making it. All right, so at the end of the shooting phase, because he's readied, he's going to fire into my Heavy Bolter guy. He's going to be -1 to hit because of obscured, -1 to hit because of more than half range, looking for a 5. No hit. All right, so into the shooting phase now. My Heavy Bolter guy is going to fire into the guy over here. He is obscured, but less than half range, and because he's my heavy specialist, he ignores the -1 to moving with the heavy weapon. So this is going to be 3 shots into him, hitting on 4s. And now his Plague Marine here is going to fire his bolter into my Heavy Bolter. He's going to have 2 shots hitting on 4s because he's obscured, but not -1 because he's within half range. So that's 2 hits. These are going to be wounding on 4s. Getting 1 wound. 3-up armor save. He's good. All right, so now Jenkins here is going to throw a crack grenade into his fighter over there. So it's going to be 1 shot hitting on a 4 because he's obscured. That is a hit. Strength 6, so wounding on a 3. That is a wound. 1 second. All right, so -1, looking for a 4-up. No, goes through. He's going to spend a command point to reroll that. Yeah, and he's good. All right, so that is going to be it for the shooting phase. So into the fight phase, his regular Plague Marine here has charged in here, so he's going to go in first. So he's got 1 attack, hitting on a 3. That is a hit. Wounding on a 4.
No, this is extra attack.
Oh, extra attack because of Death to the False Emperor. My bad. So that's going to be 2 hits on 1 attack. Wounding on 4s. Getting 1 wound. Rerolling 1s because of Plague Weapon, because of his Plague Knife. So that's going to be 2 wounds. 2 3-up armor serves. And I make one of them, fail one of them, so he's down to 1 wound. So now he's going to attack back with his 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. All right. I'm going to spend a command point on that. Nope. Okay. So 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. No wound there. All right, so that is going to be the end of turn 6 here. I have to take a break test. Oh, and I failed my break test, so my army is now broken. But let's see if we go on to a turn 7. We do, so we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you after with the initiative now. 6 to 7, so we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard. All right, so because I'm broke, I do have to take a morale test for each of nerve test for each of these guys. So we're gonna do the Heavy Bolter guy. I have 4 guys out, so 4 plus 5 is 9. Re-rolling because of they shall know no fear. 5, so he is going to be shaken. Now we'll do the Intercessor down here. He is going to have 5 because he's also got a shaken guy there. So it's 4 plus 5 plus 6 is a failed. Rerolling 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. He is also shaken. And then on to Sergeant Jenkins over there. With a 6 rerolling because of and they shall know no fear. Into a 5. He is also shaken. Not great. All right, movement phase. We're just gonna have him charging into both of these guys over here. So his charge distance, I'm shaken with all of them, so I can't do anything. He's totally in. So can't actually shoot anything, so we're gonna go with the charge up here first. So he charged, so he's got 3d6 attacks. So he's gonna have 3, 4, 5 attacks. How are you gonna put them? Distribute them. We'll come back to that. So he's going to put 3 attacks into the heavy bolter guy and 2 into Jenkins. So we're going to have the 3 attacks into the heavy bolter guy first, hitting on 3s. That is 2 hits, wounding on 3s. Yes, 3s. So that is going to be 1 wound. AP -2, looking for a 5 up. Nope. So that goes through. 2 damage. So that's going to be 2 injury rolls here. Just going to take 2 wounds there.
Yeah.
And now the 2 into Jenkins. That is going to be 1 hit. That is not a wound. He's going to spend Plague Weapon rerolling 1s. That is a wound. AP -2, so looking for a 6 up. Nope, no fill face there. So it's going to be 2 wounds. And Jenkins is out of the game. Jenkins, no! And now his Plague Marine down here is going to activate. So that is going to be a hit. That is not a wound, though. All right, so that is actually going to be the end of the game because my guys are shaken and therefore cannot do anything back at him there. So we have 2 guys doing nothing. So this is going to be a Death Guard victory. A pretty strong victory there. Needing those 5s to wound on his guys a lot really hampered me a fair amount. And he did a really great job of just getting his close combat guys right up in my grill early on and just like taking out my guys really fast, which is exactly what he had to do. So he had the other guys laying down some cover fire and then ran his close combat guys into my face and did a really good job. So Killteam is a ton of fun. It's a faster paced game, a lot of fun, really quick, and you can get a couple games in an afternoon, which is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to this. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. My opponent's been Jason, and until next time, have fun.